Hey, so there wasn't a full-blown new episode for this past week because I ended up buckling down and finishing part the second of Really That Bad Batman v Superman. And it takes time and concentration if I'm going to bring you insightful, intellectually stimulating film criticism like this. Anyway, check out the links below for that. In any case, we should be back on schedule for next week coming, but I didn't want to let this week run out without at least giving you something, even if it's something partially comprised of callbacks to a previous episode, which I always feel kinda guilty doing, even when it's called for, like in this case. And plus, I really wanted to talk about the news that since Universal is building the Nintendo theme park, Nintendo has decided to trust them to make the first Nintendo movie since the failed Mario Bros. Movie in the 90s, excluding the Pokemon movies, and that Animal Crossing anime they didn't bother to release outside of Japan.
Let's begin.
流れる季節の中で触れ合いと絆を描く感動の物語。劇場版動物の森。
Thing is, you might remember I already did a Mario movie episode 2 months ago for one of the How to Fix episodes, which you can also watch by checking the links below. So in that episode, I posited that I was personally more interested in seeing a proper live-action Super Mario Bros. Movie than I was in the much more likely and not at all inherently bad prospect of an animated feature, for, you know, reasons. We'll get a Mario movie within the next decade, and it'll probably be animated, which, okay, would be fine. It'll be fine. I'm not against animation. I love animation. Whenever the Nintendo movies thing happens for anything that isn't Metroid, everyone immediately goes to, oh, it should just be a cartoon. And as I said, I'll happily watch a feature-length Mario cartoon, fine. Everything a little bit fanciful should just be animated. Default argument when it comes to video game movies misses that one of the main reasons to adapt a story or a character or a world to another medium is to take advantage of what that medium can offer to present said story in a new way. Tangibility, a visceral, tactile sense of something imaginary having been brought to life. So as you can imagine, I'm not exactly over the moon to learn that not only will Universal's Mario movie be animated, but it'll be handled by Illumination Studios, best known for the Despicable Me franchise, which, let's face it, means they're best known for the Minions, cue unfortunately prescient callback. We've seen Mario animated already. There's been like 5 or 6 animated Mario projects officially. Hell, all the games are technically animated, and let's face it, Western feature animation is in kind of a rut right now, and this is not going to be a Pixar joint. So unless we're gonna get some kind of really unique quasi-avant-garde thing with it, like that hand-painted Van Gogh movie, or the moving toy stuff from the Lego movies, or even Leica's material, do you really want the Mario movie to be one of those assembly line, nut job, open season, Trolls, Romeo and Juliet, every Ice Age after the second one things, where the main creative decisions were which of the Koopalings should sound like Kevin Hart and which one should sound like Sheldon, or whether the Shy Guys or the Toads are better positioned to be our answer to the fucking Minions? Didn't think so. Now look, I don't really have anything against Illumination per se. They're a decent enough studio, they employ a lot of talented people, and I actually thought Sing was a pretty great movie, and remember, I'm about as predisposed to hating what is essentially American Idol, the movie starring celebrity-voiced animals, as you can get. And it's not so much the Minions I despise as it is what trying to make that lightning strike twice has led the rest of feature animation to do in reaction to them. But in processing this, what I find myself grappling with is whether or not hoping to see this particular property ever become a great film is being unrealistic on my part. Do I honestly believe there's something greater to be found in there among the pixels, or am I just overstating what was ultimately the best and most enduring among the other marginally plotted, thinly characterized, colorful romps of the golden age of video games because a big, sweeping, quasi-epic fantasy adventure is what it ballooned up into in my imagination when I was obsessively playing the games and submerging myself in Nintendo ephemera in my formative years? I mean, my headcanon still defaults to the Brothers from Brooklyn thing. Now, for me, it's not even a question. You go with the 2 plumbers from Brooklyn origin. Yes, in part because that was the more or less official from about the 80s up until 1995 or so Mario backstory that I grew up with, so it'll always be the truth to me. If they're from the Mushroom Kingdom, you've either got to dilute the gravity of your storyline by front-loading too much haha LOL video games meta-absurdity too soon too up front. It makes them more relatable to the audience since they'll be experiencing everything for the first time too, i.e. it lets the necessary exposition of what's going on and why flow much more naturalistically, and 2 guys meet a giant turtle, they already know how to beat it and they do is way less interesting than 2 guys meet a giant turtle, they've never seen anything like that before, what are they gonna do? And even if it was sort of the default official backstory from the 80s to the early 90s, at least in the West, it hasn't been for a while. Beyond that, for as many characters as there are and as many self-contained story digressions get played out in the Mario RPG installments, there's not really that much more narrative meat in the Mario franchise in the mainline games than there is in, say, Rampage, and that seems to have found its appropriate level in terms of film adaptation as an expensive yet still goofy-looking B-monster movie starring The Rock. It's like how when people ask me how can you say Batman v Superman was worse than Suicide Squad, and well, it's because we know for a fact that Batman and Superman movies can be substantially better than that, whereas even a good version of Suicide Squad as a property that wasn't such a goddamn narrative mess could only ever realistically aspire to being high-end grindhouse trash and expensive-looking trauma movie, basically. So yeah, it's possible that even though the games themselves are timeless classics, being one of those disposable, biannual animated comedy franchises full of dopey comedy and clunky references that mainly exist because you can sell twice as many tickets because kids have to bring a parent or their friends is where the Mario franchise belongs as a movie property. Yeah, that's a possibility worth considering, introspection and all that, but I still don't completely buy it. And despite my misgivings, I'll continue to hope that even if Illumination's Mario movie isn't good, maybe this at least permanently breaks the dam open and we won't have to wait another 20 years for someone to try again. And if one of the most moving scenes in a movie this past year can be centered on Rocket Raccoon, I'm not going to stop maintaining that the Mario universe probably deserves better than it's going to get from a studio whose best movie is about animals doing cover songs. Hey gang, here's a question that keeps coming up. If your handle is moviebob, where are your movie reviews? Well, my old reviews are in a lot of places. You'll find many of them on my YouTube channel, but you'll find the brand new ones on Geek.com, an awesome site that's also your one-stop news source for science, TV, gaming, technology, nerd culture, the works. You can find all my reviews directly by going to geek.com/author/bchipman, because that's my real name, and you can get regular updates on all my reviews and all of Geek.com's other great content by signing up for their kick-ass newsletter at subscribe.geek.com. And don't forget to also subscribe to the Geek.com YouTube channel, where you'll find the videos that accompany my reviews and tons of other great content too. Remember, that's Geek.com, the Geek.com newsletter, and Geek.com on YouTube. Make sure you don't miss out on all the latest MovieBob reviews. You can also check out my own new website, MovieBob Central, where you'll find my blog, links to all my work, and shop for my books, ebooks, and future MovieBob products. And please remember to like these videos, share them with all of your friends, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching another MovieBob production.